everyone, and welcome to your carrier update presented by PowerFleet. So volumes have taken a quick turn up here leading into the final days, leading into Christmas. This is a little bit unexpected. Last year at this time, volumes had already collapsed a little bit. So we're really not expecting this little uptick leading into Christmas coming up, because it just doesn't make that much sense, because all that freight should have been out. Well, why is this happening? So one of the reasons this is happening is a lot of the freight is getting pushed out in front of the holiday for the next few days or the week after New Year's, for instance. So we're looking at the tender lead time map right here. This time last year, we had lead times well above 3.5 days. Right now, we're looking at about 3-day lead time. So this means that there's a lot of freight being pushed out for the days following Christmas and then also after New Year's. So any of these volumes are basically shippers getting ahead of what's happening. So tender rejection rates over 12% right now, still pretty significantly tightening of capacity leading into Christmas. A lot of the markets in the country right now experiencing tightened capacity. If you look at the weighted rejection index tree map behind me here, anything in green essentially is seeing an increasing weighted rejection index value over the last day or so. But all of these values, if you look at all these absolute values right here, they're all positive. That means that they have all seen increasing tender rejection rates over the last week or so. So looking into this area up here around Harrisburg, Allentown, Elizabeth, New Jersey, the Northeast continues to be one of the tightest areas of the country, especially on the shorter haul freight. So any carriers operating up there, if they're willing to take some freight, moving a shorter distance over the next week or so, you should be looking good, but make sure that you charge for it, because capacity is quite low at this point in time. Atlanta market finally showing up on the radar in terms of increasing tender rejection rates, and a very sizable market in that area. So anybody wanting to move over the next few days, 7 days or so, really needs to pay attention there. Ontario, still tight. Augusta, Maine, a very small market, but the reason it's showing up here is because we're seeing a super tight and increasing rejection rate over the last couple of days. So this is an anomalous move for this market. So anybody willing to move out of that market should be able to charge a ton of money to get out of Augusta, Maine for once in your life. Go ahead and go up to Augusta, Maine. But I want to target a more common market just to give you guys a tidbit leading into the holiday as we go into Christmas. So the Indianapolis market, right here in the middle, the heart of the country. A lot of freight moves through this corridor right here from Columbus to Indianapolis, through Chicago, back and forth around here in the megalopolis. And so anything that happens here in terms of tightening capacity is going to be increasing opportunities. A lot of carriers in this market right now. A lot of freight moves through this corridor. Anybody willing to drive over the next few days should have a pretty good chance of finding some increasing freight volumes. But also not just volumes, but they need to make sure that they charge for anything that they move, especially if they're going to book these loads prior to the holiday. So go ahead and grab these before, especially if you're looking at the load board now. We're starting to see, we had the doughtage over the weekend, but if you can find any of this freight on the spot boards at this point in time, go ahead and make sure that you get these margins elevated, especially over this period of time. And that'll do it for today's Carrier Update.
The comprehensive logistics offerings from PowerFleet cover in-cab ELD, fleet management, trailer tracking, cargo monitoring, and tracking other assets such as chassis and intermodal containers. Power up your operations with PowerFleet.